And this is what happened. Muzz, Yapko, and Rise now able to get the first victory royale of the day for them. And they did it in a fashion that we hadn't really seen yet for North America, which is taking high ground around zone 11. So many times, Vivid, we've seen these teams just kind of let whoever has high ground control high ground. And Muzz said, we saw what happened to us last game. We're now going to take it.
I gotta say, zone 11, even into zone 12 here, one of the hardest moments to actually take high ground, I feel like, in Fortnite competitive. I mean, super impressive for them to kind of pull it off. But I mean, there was just no like pressure kind of being returned from the high ground team from Reed, Cooper, and Curly, right? Like they were kind of just up there kind of shooting for free. No pressure being returned. They finally get the builds knocked down. One of the trios, or one of the members of the trio on height, goes down to the fall damage. Is super well played. They kind of applied that pressure throughout the entirety of the end game. And finally, when that pressure ended up paying off, they of course went for the take, the 3v2, and cleaning it up. Again, we have like the head-to-head trio, Clix' trio versus Muzz's trio at the end. Of course, this time flip-flopping around. Muzz's trio comes out on top, gets that win, but super great Fortnite from this trio from the past 2 games.
Absolutely, bro. We are again trying to play for consistency. We've got 3 spots on the line. Going to globals, pressure is on. With 2 games left to go, we can't wait to show you guys the standings. But first, a quick break. When we return, about to blow your mind. See you in a little bit. All right, welcome back to the FNCS. Time to blow your mind, okay? Are you ready for this? Because we're gonna look at these standings, and when you see who's at the top of these standings, prepare to have your mind blown. It's a tie, 310 to 310 right now. Clix is going head to head with Peterbot, Higgs, Iamzo, Ritual, Cold. It's a battle. I mean, David, quick math, the points, hit me.
What points? 310 minus 310 is 0. Zeke, they're tied,
no,
man.
Third place, Vivid, read my mind.
Oh, the 3rd place, 57. Boom.
Oh, good. That was fast math.
That's
My
Dude,
goodness.
he's so good at math. I cannot believe after just 4 games here in Major number 2 finals, we are already seeing 2 trios stand above the rest, and they're tied. And again, Kelly, when trios like this start to pull away from everybody else, it gets that much more difficult to try and rein them in. I mean, I want to see this because I want to see Clix at globals, but someone stop Peterbot, please.
It's so hard to stop Peterbot. Actually, I should change that. It's so hard to stop Cold and Ritual right now because they have just been doing such a good job when they go down into a duo. And obviously, Peterbot is grabbing a ton of eliminations in the early and mid game so that when he does go down, he's still bringing value to his trio here. But truly, it is definitely Cold and Ritual that have been carrying these end games, Vivid.
Yeah, I can't believe we're in like game 4 and we haven't had Peterbot kind of alive in the final moments for the trio, right? Like crazy stuff. Haven't had a Peterbot-esque game. I was for sure thinking, first 3 games, whatever. We'll start the same in game 4, game 5. Nah, has not shown up yet, but that just means that Ritual and Cold, they're showing up for sure. And another trio that, of course, is showing up. Heck, I say trio. Why don't we go ahead and keep talking on duos right now? Higgs and Yamzo being the duo, kind of the pop-off this game, clutching up from 19th, 18th place when Clix went down all the way to 2nd place as a duo. Eventually Higgs being the solo. That's crazy.
He literally, every time we would turn back to Higgs, he would now have 2 more eliminations. Just every time we went to look at him, he's just going back, and he's doing such a good job right now, especially when we saw Clix have such an incredible end to game number 3 there. To carry that momentum on after Clix goes down just a little bit early is exactly what they need right now. They're an emotional team. They definitely like fly off of those vibes. And so I think Higgs being able to make it into the final 2 teams is definitely keeping those vibes up right now. And we said it at the start of the show, the only way a team is going to be able to rival Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot is if they can bring the elims like they can. And look at that, Zeke. It is just a 1 elim difference between those 2 trios.
It's so crazy, isn't it, Kelly? The way they're mirroring each other, right? Like, look at the placement points, look at the elims, look at the VRs. They are taking steps at the same time. Just little tiny differences, and yet they are still going head to head. And remember, Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot, they're already qualified, right? So if we ended the tournament right now, 2nd through 4th place would be securing themselves a seat on the battle bus going to globals, right? Like, obviously we still have more games to play, but man, these trios are showing up and just putting on some fantastic Fortnite. With 2 games left to go, what are we hoping to see out of this game? Like, I would love to see more Reet, of course, but like, is there things you guys are hoping to see with 2 games left to go?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I want to see a Reet victory royale. When you look at the leaderboard right now, it is all of the big names with a single VR, except for Reach Trio.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what everybody's kind of asking for right now. And I know one in particular person who's probably about to crash out and is definitely asking for it. A South Zone, right? I mean, Kanada's trio, Jacob kind of called it out that game. They're the trio right now with the most distance traveled. So they're really putting on an effort to kind of make it into the end games. But like I mentioned, right, landing at the southeast side, all the way in that corner. I mean, most of the zones they're going to have to run, but holy cow, some of these zones, they've really got to run.
Okay, everyone, just manifest South Zone. Okay, here we go. Together now. Manifest South Zone. Okay, Jacob PR, MDF, manifest South Zone. Keep manifesting it.
Come on, Zeke. We know you are not changing the script. We know what's going on over there. This has been some incredible stuff. I mean, if you get these zones like this, you need to be up at the top of the standings. And you know what? For Clix's trio, they're doing just that.
Yeah, and it's coming out for the back of changing their entire strategy and the last Division Cup finals, because more times than not, they lose their POI, they go to the black market, and they find their surge there. So a huge switch up, and it's actually working out for them. With number 5 ready, let's get into it. This is it right now, Monster. A first place tie at 310 points. 2 games left to close out our day. Then everybody gets a little bit of a break. A little bit of break to hit the VOD reviews, make what little adjustments you can, because then tomorrow we crown a new FNCS champion for Major 2.
Yeah, and the truth is, I mean, how do you adjust after the first 4 games play out almost identically back to back to back? Like I said, the teams that started performing well just look to be refining their strategy ever so slightly game after game. And this is exactly why the leaderboard looks the way it does right now. And Zeke called it best. If you just ended the tournament right now, I mean, it is going to come down to the teams that of course, are well within that top 5 right now, and they're starting to break away with a monstrous lead. In Jacob, what I'm thinking about, what does that do to the mental, fatigue, right? Game after game, getting eliminated, maybe short of where you want to be. Like, a lot of this does come down to mentality.
Yeah, and I do think tomorrow, some of those teams, we might see a switch get flipped, a little bit more aggression, especially in some of these contested fights where you want to try to get, a victory or a disengage. Obviously, you want to win as fast as possible, and already double knocks going down for both of these teams, but only one of them is instantly going to be revived, and it's actually 3 teams overall at Brutal Boxcars, and these are the type of things I expect to continue on for day 2, depending on where you're at on the leaderboard. If you want to make some money, if you want to go to the Global Championship, or you want to win the FNCS, you're going to have to make up the pace with eliminations.
Oh, yes. I mean, and you know what? Some teams do well on day 2. Let's go back to history, right? With Acorn and what he's been able to kind of restructure and bounce back. But there's other trios that have never done that, right? They just don't have it in them, or it's even harder to go ahead and kind of dig deep and find that moment for yourself. But again, so many new trios are here, a lot of new opportunity. Let's just go ahead and lock in for this little battle right now. Polus, Jackson, Zach. Finally looking to initiate here onto Cyrus, Zyre, and Naps. Okay, so Cyrus's team here putting some points on the board now. Finally catching their momentum, right? Catching a little streak for themselves here coming into game number 5. And for once, they have the drop to themselves, but it's going to be short-lived as Noah W plays his team, starts to rotate in. They find Polus disengaging on the outskirts here. I expect a full collapse here shortly.
Especially since he is going to be a solo. I, for a second, thought his teammates were on top of the Brutal Boxcars mountain, but nope, he's just by himself. And there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders to at least give his team a chance, a reboot, something in this game. As you jump on board, Noah, Chaos, Kaz is not staying as long as they would over towards the black market. This time around, they're just going to get their loot and get on out. Muzz, Rise, Yapko, quick to get their early elimination onto 1 and push the team out. And this is where I'm saying everything kind of speed up here in the 5th game of the day.
Time is flying by as well, as these rounds are already starting to come to a close. Muzz, Yapko, and Rise, though, look at their points right now. Just jumping back up into the conversation after somehow finding themselves trailing out 2 games. Basically, the first and second not going in their favor, falling somewhat in the middle of the pack, and then a second and first place back-to-back against the likes of Clixus Trios. So love to see these stories just start to come full circle, but it also shows you that you can come back from a bad position on the standings with 2 big games. So do not count these trios out for games 5 and 6. Anything can still occur here.
And then there's still the chance of when you get into day 2, how many drop spots will change up overall. We've already seen some throughout the day on NA, as it does look like Boltz, Kanata, and Sphinx did get that armored vehicle, extra heals, and just rotating right towards the Kappa Cap factory. Very, very similar strategy they did in that last game to get some early surge.
God, I appreciate these early surge strategies. However, this one right here, ooh. I was going to say, it's like playing chicken. Like, who's going to jump first? King jumps first there. I'm not even sure Kanata saw him, but after the rock broke, clearly, Kanata's looking to dive in now. It's just straight jokes when you really think about it.
Feel sorry for him, but it's only going to be a knock. His teammate, solo player, still down low at the POI. They dropped at. He's trying to pickaxe. Doesn't necessarily, I don't think it works the same with the Med Mist. I think it's just the water sprites for the most part. But you're seeing everybody just trying to get as many tricks underneath their sleeve. Storm Surge, it kind of frees up your game plan. You can continue to stay in your Surge Tower. You can rotate early while every other team has to stagger themselves back. It gives you a lot of options as they look across. Phenom trying to dodge the initial fight at the bridge, but the fight comes to him. He goes down regardless.
Yeah, unfortunately taken out right there. And Eulogy, Yusuf left to contemplate their decisions, and no, Yusuf taken out as well. So Eulogy just completely doubling back now here, kind of giving up the positioning. Player along the outskirts. Probably not even going to have an opportunity to play for those cards either. It's given the way the zone's going to be, but it seems like he's just going to Gonna go ahead and chance it here. Jacob is just gonna hang out, see if he can pick up those cards in a couple minutes.
Yeah, luckily for him, we might have another north zone. You already see it on the edge, pulling up towards the north, pulling towards the west just a little bit. And so for him, he's just hoping a lot of those teams that, particularly the one that got the eliminations, continues to rotate towards the north along with the zone. That'll allow him to go back into the zone, get the reboot back up, and depending on how far it pulls, his teammate will be able to get a little bit of a chance to let up. As Cyrus taking down Polus. We saw Polus was a solo, so that team is out of the game here in game number 5. They got one more last chance on the day, and hopefully they can make some minor adjustments with the time that they have at their hands.
You can see while we're chilling in the early game, go check out that shop. Pretty sick merch. They're starting to approach the FNCS Pro-Am coming up. There's so much exciting stuff happening here. It's definitely feeling like such a finals weekend so far. Got to respect the competitors, giving us an amazing set of first 4 games. And things are just heating up. Things are just getting interesting now, Jacob, because we have a tie, right? 3-10 between Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold. Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs.
See, they've averaged 11.7 eliminations per finals this season. And you can see that's on a kind of a downward trend, because game 1 they have 6, game 3 they have 7, last game they have 7. The only game they have at that average or more is game 2, where they actually were able to pull off that victory royale. And you're seeing how the change of pace is really affecting a team like this, rightfully so. The most aggressive team, I feel like, in the history of the game, particularly the FNCS. And when you kind of force them to slow things down, really think about their moves, sometimes it just gives your opponents a little bit more time to work with and kind of formulate a strategy to fight back.
Just to go down history lane, I think the most aggressive team in all history, MMB.
Ah, you got it.
You know. All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. Peterbot is the GOAT, but the trio GOATs, MMB all day. But Tony, Noisy, Creon right here, getting active right now. A little bit of a kind of messy fight here for the teams here, but Brutal Boxcars has just been this all day long. You know, starting off, Tony's team was doing so well, maintaining kind of their top 5 position, and it just seems like that strategy not sustainable for them, as it's kind of like digested its way down into just, again, messy fight here at the Brutal Boxcar.
And it almost surprises me because of the buff, so to say, to pump power, where they're landing at, the extra gold, the dill bits. You can see the extra splashes and the mythic AR that they no longer have because they just lost it in Creon. I would expect them to kind of be following suit to the meta, you know, using the extra heals that they know they can get from the black market to try to get surge, but they're staying true to what they know, playing aggressive. Unfortunately enough, though, it did cost them in this game, giving up not only that mythic collateral AR, they gave up some splashes, they gave up hope to Josh, Causers, and Magma.
Yeah, definitely. And they're just going to move on out. So everyone here just somewhat disengaging, but another team rotating in. So we'll catch up with that fight in just a second. For now, though, we just catch up. Let's catch up with Curly, Rhea, and Coop here. They have just found themselves in high ground. They found themselves in multiple end games, and time again, they've played this so well. Last game, though, you just couldn't expect Muzz's trio. Kelly had a feeling that Muzz's trio was going to end up taking a stab at it, but for so long, no one looked up. No one even tried to contest them, right? It makes you wonder, why is it that they had so much time up there by themselves?
Yeah, it's just, I think the chaos of the zone pulling towards the north, a lot of teams expending their materials, and then Storm Surge on top of that, kind of forcing everybody to go box to box, toe to toe. Bryce just peeking out, trying to land some shots on Evan and Sandman, and Peterbot over towards Crime City. Finally a fight where they can start to feel a little bit more confident, and that's going to show as Peterbot gets the first drop onto Jojo Fishy. Pike's trying to disengage, but Cold hot on his tail. And immediately as he runs away, they backtrack to try to 3v1 the last solo that's here, which is a Yoxi. Luckily for him, his teammate's going to get a chance regardless of what happens to get the reboot cards.
I like this push right here from Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold. This is looking very reminiscent of Major 1 type aggression right now. Taking these fights, wrapping them up, and getting the damage this way.
I thought he was going to be able to get out. It was just a wild thought in my imagination. But Peterbot, he's getting back to his old form, Monster. He went and pushed him as a solo. He said, you two handle this. I'll take charge on the other side. And this is after already getting this elimination on the Jojo Fishy to open up the fight.
You see Jojo, like, he was just so many steps behind. Peterbot already had the cone in there. It was already, you know, kind of building. My gosh. This shows you how sharp he is. Updating the look on the standings here in real time. Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot set of eliminations thrust them way up. 4 points per Elim really does start to come into effect, especially later into the tournament when teams start to slow down, really think about their positioning, and almost, you know, harbor the fact that they are in the standings, in the race for a win. It's always those adjustments in the strategy that can end up backfiring. But a team like Ritual, Cold, and Peterbot, they've already qualified for Globals. They are just playing differently, and they're going to continue to play better because they don't have those pressures, right? That's my one concern about Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs.
Yeah, and I know I said it last game about Kanada's team. Well, after game number 4, there's a new team in first in terms of distance traveled on the map, and that's Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual. It's not a large number distance, maybe like 6 meters between them and Kanada's team, but it just goes to show, even though they do land closely towards the north side of the zone, they're still constantly rotating around, trying to find damage so that they don't end up having to think about it when they're already below the threshold and really out of options. See the Brutal Boxcars just at the edge of the mountain. That's where Bucky, Cam, and Oka is going to position themselves at. It's kind of separated, though. You see Oka's on the side of the mountain with the drum gun. He's going to be the one kind of appointed the role of just spotting out a lot of these teams with that thermal scope.
I was going to say, I don't know why they're down here. We all know they need to start heading towards Magic Mosses. This mountain is only going to be briefly lived. Visual Braids and Diminish. A little bit of an exchange here at the Brutal. Seems like Muzz's team has managed to rotate ahead. Already cutting off these late trios.
This is where really starts to make you think, because there's that trio right in front of them, just outside of Brutal. Remember, we saw Bucky, Okus, and Cam just south of Brutal. A team Visual Braids and Diminish could potentially run into. And so they got to start assessing the situation. They look at all these structures built from small boxes to surge bases, and they're just trying to formulate a strategy of how are we going to rotate into this mess. Going towards the mountain might not be our best play, so I can see a team like them rotating to the north and then going to the east to try to find their comfort.
Here's a team that hasn't moved from their drop. Still Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold. Oh, for a second I thought we jumped in with Clixus. I'm tripping. Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold at the lone wolf layer. I was like, hold up. Got a little too comfortable with the team that's normally here. Look at this ridiculous stat. Peterbot has had the most damage dealt in his last 4 FNCS finals across everyone, essentially on the region, really showing you